love your mother. We've been to her home into California, and we've been many times in Washington. And she invited us to the Thanksgiving dinner, and we just love Mary Grace. I think she didn't live long enough, though. She and I were going to stay in your cottage in our declining years. But I didn't recognize her today because she didn't have her wonderful smile on. They should have put that on. She just smiled all the time and just made us all feel so good. I love her to pieces.
Let's hear some memories you have of Mom.
Oh, I tell you, I've got a lot of memories of going down and spending time in St. George with them. And she always had nice meals. Remember that? I remember the turkeys that she did in the what do they call it? The barbecue thing that she had. The Weber barbecue. That's the best eating turkey I've ever had. She is a special person.
Thank you, Dad.
You bet.
You know, I've been thinking about her. We were in what they call it, Air Base Village together, right after they were married. You two had been born, you and Kathy, and your mother was Relief Society president, and I went with her to deliver things and help people, and it was a fun experience.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I think she was a beautiful woman.
Okay.
Well, it's good to see you guys again, even under, well, these are great, great circumstances. What a fabulous, fabulous aunt. I was trying to remember, she picked me up in the San Francisco airport when I was on my mission. And I can't remember if it was going or coming. Your mom came and got me and took me for a ride just to visit, because I didn't have enough time to go anywhere. I'd forgotten all about that until the day I was sitting there, and you know what, I had some special time with her all by myself, way back when. So, yeah. I'm going to have to ask my mom and say, was it before or after? Because I can't imagine as a missionary being away from your companions when you were going over. Now, coming back, I think that's probably what it was. I think it's when I came back.
Was she in a little Dodge Omni, Plymouth Horizon?
I think so. Yeah, it was a little car.
That was about 1982.
No, it had to be earlier than that because I came back in 75. 75. Almost.
She drove clear down from San Rafael?
Yeah, all the way down. Met me at the airport. We went for a little drive. We didn't go very far. We just talked, and then she took me back to the airport. And I got on a plane and flew, so it had to be on the way back.
Well, this is a detail of her life I had no idea.
And I had totally forgotten about it until today. I was just thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know where you were. You're off, probably swimming in the ocean somewhere.
Surfing, dude.
Yeah, would have been about that time.
I learned that surfing is not something you want to do.
Todd is learning how to surf. He's got slimmed down, he's got into shape, and the guy that he works for is teaching him how to surf.
That's good.
And he says pretty rough on him. He says when you go over, you go all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's interesting. Well, it's good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you, Dr. Smith.
Yes, sir.
I can remember when we lived in Idaho and we lived in a little apartment, and her coming and she and I laying in the bed and talking all night long. I also remember the times when she lived in Washington, and any time of the day or night there'd be a knock on the door and there'd be surprise company. And I also remember the trip to Yellowstone when we sang and the heads began to pip around all the trees. Do you remember that when we went with you guys? I don't know if your mother went, your mother went, but your sister Kathy and them went. And we stayed, your mom did. And we stayed in, and your mom and Reed slept in a little tiny trailer, and our kids slept above them, and one of them wet the bed.
I remember lots of fun times, lots of trips, lots of fun times.
That was a good trip.
That
It was a
was.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
Memories of that great sister of mine. These later years, we had more fun together than I can ever remember having as kids. We got together and traveled and enjoyed one another. And when Reed passed away, it was a real gap in the family. But then she remarried with Dan. We started traveling together. And we had so much fun in the association with she and Dan out in Washington. It just seemed like a reborn of our childhood again. And I think we traveled. We traveled to Mexico. We traveled to back east and so many different places up on the Washington coast. Down to Ken's place in California. We just enjoyed the whole family. We're going to miss her now, but we've got all those sweet memories. And it's been a real privilege to know a sister like Mary Grace.
Well, we would always stop and see Mary Grace on her way to Yuma in the wintertime. And she'd get us to pick her pecans, and then she'd give us a great big sack of them to take home. That was fun. I'm thinking of a trip with Bob and Carol and Mary Grace and myself and Lloyd. We went back to Nauvoo. We had a motel room there. Excuse me. Mary Grace was snoring and Bob couldn't sleep. So he reached his foot over and started to kick the bed. She was in the bed next to him. He kicked the bed and she'd stop for a few minutes. Then pretty soon she'd start again. And he kicked the bed again. Finally, he got up with his pillow and blanket, went to sleep in the tub. And the next morning, Mary Grace said, "Did you feel the earthquake we had last night? I think we had 2 of them." And we all just laughed and laughed because we knew it was Bob's foot out the bed to reach her bed to jiggle it to stop her from making a noise. And Bob slept in the tub. That morning he came out of the bathroom with his quilt and his pillow. She was a wonderful lady. She always made me feel worthwhile. Always had a spiritual story to tell me which lifted my spirits and made me feel so happy that I belong to the Smith family. You're all just great. You're all just wonderful. I love you all.
Your mother and her sister Vivian were some of my first playmates. You see, when we lived right next to their place when I was just about 4 years old. And so your mother and Vivian were Mary and my playmates when we were real tiny before we moved to Camas. Then after we moved to Camas, we used to look forward to their family coming out and visit us. After your mother got married and moved away, why, we didn't see very much of her, but we did write. And I was so thrilled when we met you and Sue at the MTC. I called your mother the day after, and that's the last I talked to her. But she's always been a very, very special cousin of mine.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Well, I always remember when we'd have a chance to go down to visit Uncle Ed and Aunt Ethel and Lloyd and John. Of course, Mary Grace and Vivian was always out there. They were just special. I always admired Mary Grace's nice, pretty red hair. She was just kind of special. So this has always been good. That was our second family, you might say, and Ethel was always my second mom. What she says was she was the one that caught me when I first entered into this life. So I was born out there next door there. So that's been good. I always figure the Ed Smith family's been our second family. So it's been good. Always remember fond memories.
It's a great occasion to be here, get all the family together.
Anything special you remember about her?
Oh, I was thinking about a lot of things. That Mary Grace has always been such a outgoing person, just the most positive person I think I've ever known. I never heard her really down on anything, even when we were little and would be at odds once in a while. So she's always been a very inspiring person. She showed a great love for her family and for family traditions. And I'm sure it's carrying on with her descendants now too.
Care of Albert because they had diphtheria, is it?
Scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever. And he was born, and so she had to take care of him, and Mom took care of the care
Mom.
for him.
Mary Grace, I was her baby.
So.
I was her baby doll.
I wasn't there. I just am telling the hearsay.
She and I used to have cooking.
You were the cook.
But she was the cook as well. And we used to compare our cakes together when we did them at home.
That's a high compliment when the Lion House baker thinks my mom was a great cook.
She was. She taught me a lot.
She made killer banana bread.
Yes, she did. Yeah, I remember that.
You know, I was really surprised and I was really upset that your family was so impatient.
About what?
Trying to find you.
Oh. We're moving into St. George in about a month and a half.
You are?
Yep.
Well, wonderful. Well, I appreciate the information, and we'll have to get together when we get down there.
Yeah.
See what happens. But I hardly expected to take your place in Lewiston for a short moment.
Nah, it's just a different place.
Well, thank you.
I say that one.
I hardly believe this has really happened. I guess there's a lot of you have the same idea, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great blessing.
Yeah, it was definitely a blessing for her, but it's a loss for us, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because she was the source of a lot of consolation and happiness.
Yeah. She hurt so much.
That's right, and she was very gracious in the way it affected her. She hardly showed it.
Yeah.
No, it was wonderful. I was sure happy that I spent a few days up there with her.
Yeah, she really appreciated your friendship.
Well, it was equal. It was equal because it's hard to get along without a companion. And that was a good companionship that she shared with me.
Yes.
And I guess that's been for quite a few years too, when it really comes down to it. And, kind of took care of me for quite a while. Yeah, and she's taking care of a lot of the rest of us now too, isn't she? I think she's busy up there keeping things straight, huh?
Well, she's still trying to straighten me out.
Well, isn't that likewise all of us?
Yeah.
Well, it's sure nice that her brother was able to fly all the way back here to be with us, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It's wonderful that he made it.
And he almost has wings.
Well, he's kind of an angel.
But he's doing great.
He needs to turn the camera on himself every once in a while.
He'll get it. Yeah, well, thanks. It's sure nice to be here and with all the family. It's quite a wonderful occasion to gather here and celebrate this special occasion with all your brothers, your brother and your sisters and nieces and nephews and uncles and all the other family. It's quite a big family, isn't it?
Yes, it is. More cousins than I can count. More birthdays than I can remember, but she got them all down on her calendar.
Yeah, that's great. And she always remembered them. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
When I forgot to call her on her birthday, she called me up.
Well, that was one of her ways of keeping track.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that helps.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all the love that your family shows to our family.
It's easy.
We're very close.
It's easy.
I always thank our mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers that brought us here.
I'm Susie Smith. My husband, Steve, is Mary Grace's nephew. The first time I met Mary Grace was on a a dark night that Reed and Mary Grace came to the airport and picked us up at the airport, yeah. And we had our little baby Keith, who was 3 months old, and they drove us all the way down to their house and had dinner ready for us. And we stayed there overnight, except Reed and Steve left in the middle of the night to go back up. Steve had to go check out of the Army and pick up our car from where it had been shipped over. And so he drove him over there and did all of that. And while they were busy doing all the paperwork, your mom took me shopping. And she bought Keith 2 little outfits and some cute little striped socks. And I still have one of those outfits. Every time I see it, I think of her and how kind she was to someone she didn't know. I never really had an opportunity to spend any other great lengths of time with her, but I do remember that with great fondness. That's it.
My 10-year-old daughter this morning,
What's her name?
Emily, told me, she said, I just always remember Aunt Mary Grace smiling. I says, that's right. She had such a beautiful smile. She was always smiling. Just a wonderful lady. So, anyway, we just wanted to share that with you and your family. And my son John also, he wished he could have come to be here with us. And he sends his condolences with your family also, and all of my children. But anyway, we were just blessed to know Aunt Mary Grace and grateful to have her up here the last 7 years in Cache Valley. Felt a little bit closer to her that way. So we're glad that she stuck out the cold weather with us, moving from that warm spot in St. George. So it's been fun to have her. So.